A little bit hungry, but otherwise the prince is in very good condition. And he's been slowly sneaking forward, and it makes me wonder if he doesn't know something we don't. Right now he is surrounded by a collection of old aardvark burrows, which means that this is as close as we can get for now without risking our vehicle going tumbling in. But Tingana certainly has a reputation as something of a burrowing creature hunter. When I first arrived, I was told that he often hunted aardvark, and at least twice we've seen him, no, 3 times we've seen him on a warthog kill. Once with Peter Pretorius, where he actively went into the burrow itself whilst live and pulled out a piglet. So he doesn't have any concerns. He's clearly not a claustrophobic leopard. He certainly has no concerns about diving underneath the surface of the soil. So perhaps he's patiently waiting here at these burrows. Maybe he knows something we don't. Although I certainly hope that the first aardvark I see live is not in the jaws of Tingana. That would be a bit devastating. We'll have to wait and see. And Tingana apparently has a reputation for being very, very good at playing the patience game, just waiting for the opportunity to pounce on something when it exits its burrow. The brilliant thing about this, of course, is that we will be able to sit here in infrared light as it starts to get dark, and perhaps something like an aardvark will pop out of this burrow. He's certainly snuck forward very, very carefully, and I wonder if that's not been in his plan all along. Perhaps he very deliberately came to this particular spot. He went quiet, he stopped calling, and when he snuck forward here, he walked very lightly, almost like he was afraid to tread too heavily upon the ground, and perhaps warn whatever creatures are hidden here of his arrival. He's definitely starving. He's very, very hungry. We've got a lunchbox, Tingana, but I don't think we could give it to you, unfortunately. I'm only joking. We don't ever feed our animals, our wild animals. And I think Dave would be terribly upset with me if I gave him Dave's sandwich. Hello to Michelle, who has just joined us and is 12 years old from my hometown, Johannesburg. Michelle, I'm so glad you sent through your question. You wanted to know how many days a leopard can go without eating. They generally eat once every 3 or so days, but they can go for much, much longer periods of time. So they can actually go, there we go. You see, I think he is planning an ambush. This is very interesting. Michelle, they can actually go up to probably about 3 weeks or so without eating, but then they're going to be in really bad condition. Very, very thin, very, very weak and hungry. But for the most part, they eat about once every 3 or so days. Oh, this is perfect. If he is planning on an ambush, there are so many perfect trees around us for him to pull his kill up into the tree. Thank you, Tingana, for deciding to come across here. And it's perfect for us. I did have to make a decision about Shadow and Tingana, but we chose Tingana because he came onto Djuma, which means we can stay with him later. So that's why we are with Tingana and not Shadow. Oh, look. Look at the Korhan. Does it know the leopard's there? Oh. Red-crested Korhan's just come into the sighting. Yes, no? Tingana couldn't be less bothered. He hasn't moved. I wonder if the Korhan got a bit of a fright. Must have. Leopards are opportunists and he is hungry, but I don't think he's that hungry. Might not be worth the effort and the energy involved. He'd probably expend more energy trying to catch that Korhan than he would eating it. A standoff between a red-crested Korhan and Tingana. One very, very brave red-crested Korhan. Okay, as things settle down here, The evening is drawing in, and I'm sure that's going to mean plenty of activity. Let's head across and see if the Nkuhumas have decided whether or not to wake up. There was a brief moment, and I'm sorry I rushed you across here, and there was a brief moment where Tingana looked like he was about to go racing forward and pounce on something, but he's immediately relaxed again. I think he either saw or heard something moving off in the distance, and then decided that it wasn't really worth his while. I am going to be speaking very softly in this sighting from here on out, since we do have a hungry leopard, and he is waiting in ambush to see what he can get. And at some point we'll be able to switch to infrared to be able to see exactly what he's up to. For now, though, he's just looking beautiful. He's relaxed completely. You can see it very, very clearly. Oh, yes. Well, if you doubted me before, he has now relaxed completely. You can see it very clearly in an animal's body language, particularly the big cats, when they are focused on hunting something. Every line of their body becomes tense with expectation. They're almost like coiled springs, full of explosive muscle power. And that's what's going to happen. I think he's decided, instead of actively seeking something, he's going to wait for it to come to him. And we will be here if it does. I'm just listening to the sounds of the bush for a moment, trying to see if I can hear anything sneaking up on him. But for now, all is quiet, and he's settled back down. And this is where the infrared really truly is going to come into its own. Usually we'd be on our way home by now, but we don't have to be anymore. We can sit for as long as we like, within limits, but as long as we like, with this hunting male leopard. Copy that. Thanks, Rex. I'm going to move in and take your spot now. Sorry, everybody. Rexon just telling me that he had a good view from where he was. And that, I think, is what we shall do. Let's go. So Rexon very kindly, and that's of course a name that most of you are familiar with, he's working as a guide at Djuma. He very kindly told us to go and take his place. I need to do some chatting and some maneuvering. So for now, I'm going to send you back across to those lovely Nkuhumas. Move the entire time while we've been following him through a very tricky vegetation block. We're just trying to keep up with him. He's on Zoe's road now, but there are other vehicles that have joined the sighting. So we're going to keep up with him as much as possible. I'm just letting Abel come through. There he goes. Let's have a look at him in the road. How awesome does this look in infrared? Isn't it absolutely incredible? And fascinatingly enough, he's actually gone from warthog burrow to warthog burrow while we've been following him. He went into one at one point, which is amazing to see. Didn't have any luck, obviously. But it's so interesting how he clearly... Oh, goodness. Okay, this is exhausting. He's really keeping us busy. Okay. Are you happy for me to go past him for? Sharp, thank you. There we go. Abel's giving us an opportunity to drive behind him. I'm going to duck my head down and we'll try and continue slowly for a little bit along the road, watching him go. And then as soon as we have another place that we can pull over, we'll let Abel go ahead. So we're basically leapfrogging. Stopping to lick his paw. Okay. No problem. It was quite an interesting block, that. That's affirmative. That's easier in these shorter cars, though. So yours is just thanking me for keeping with the leopard, because otherwise we wouldn't have been able to find him again. There goes the leopard on his way towards Mike from Cheetah Plains. Okay, I'm going to have to pull over to let Abel come through. So just bear with me one moment. Okay, we're going to pull over. And let Abel go through. Now, Ravi's got a complex question about leopard behavior so Ravi wants to know, would the leopards, do male leopards, are they able to identify that a cub is theirs? Could Tingana, for example, identify that Shadow's cubs was his, given that they do mate with different males? The answer is no, not necessarily. They can be tricked into thinking a cub is theirs when it isn't, but the interesting thing about that particular aspect of their behavior, here he goes, I'm going to try and get you a view, is they recognize the female. So they know which females they've mated with, and therefore which cubs they think might be theirs, but they don't know for certain, and they do get tricked into believing that the cub is theirs. Okay, into the block we go again. While we reposition, I think Brent has done it again. He's managed to relocate the Nkuhumas. Let's go and have a look. This might be the last few moments that we can spend with Tingana. He's about to cross into one of the most tricky patches of vegetation that we get out here. There's going to be no way that we can follow him if he crosses this road. No, he's nearly there. And there he goes. Across main access. And that is that. We're going to say farewell to Tingana, unfortunately. I don't think I can follow him. I'm going to try, but I don't think I can. Let's give it a go. What's the worst that could happen? There, he's gone flat. Nose up. I can't go in here, I'm sorry. I can't risk it. I'll smash the car to pieces if I try and go in here now in the dark. I'll give it a go, but if I find that we are not managing, then we'll pull out. Thank you, Tingana, for an awesome sighting. A good few hours spent in the company of this magnificent male leopard. No problem, Abel. I think I'm going to be pulling out soon as well. I don't think I can follow him through here. Hold on, everybody. Oh goodness, Rusty's groaning her protest. He might be following that awful smell, and gosh, is it awful. I don't know what it is. Something's died here a couple of days ago, and we never found what it was. Oopsie daisies. I think that's where he's going. He's going to go scavenge. But where's he gone? I've lost. There he is. Maybe that's what he's after. Let's try and stick with him for just a little bit longer, because I'm sure... Oh, it stinks in here. I'm sure he's on his way to scavenge a carcass. Perhaps there's an old kill he's going to go investigate. Watch out, Dave. That's going to flick at you. You okay? Go for it. Good stuff. Bravo, man. Oh. I won't break myself, Rebecca. Don't worry. Awesome. He's certainly making us work for this particular sighting. But he's sniffing all around here. He's looking to find wherever this rotten smell is coming from. Leopards are not above scavenging one little bit. Okay, I'm going to have to do some concentrating as we go through here. So while we do that and while we try and stick with him, let's head back across to the Mara and find out what James is up to. All with Tingana, and he is settled. We're sitting completely silent with our lights off. So we're sorry about that. We lost sound with Brent, but we're still here and your timing is impeccable, because just a couple of meters away from him is an impala, not too far away from us. And I'm really, for his sake, hoping that this time he is successful. Come on, Tingana. I can't see the impala anymore, but they were just ahead of us. And now it's a game of patience. They haven't seen him, and we're just going to sit and wait patiently, just like he has to do, to see how this situation unfolds. I can't turn on my lights now to see where the impala have gone, because I run the risk of either dazzling them and obviously making them more vulnerable, or actually exposing Tingana and making him more obvious to them. It's amazing. Sometimes leopards, when they are hunting, they look completely relaxed, but that's not the case at all. They are just waiting, and they are the masters of the game of patience. He's got very little, not very little energy left, but he is thin and hungry, and he doesn't want to waste any of his energy, his precious, precious energy, on a failed hunting attempt. We're just going to sit and wait and see what happens. This is where the infrared really comes into its own. I'm so glad we managed to stay with him. It's been a bit tricky, but we've managed it, and I'll have a chance to fix Rusty tomorrow if we have any problems. The one thing I'm really hoping for is not a flat tire. Because right now it's very dark and we're very much away from the road. This is incredible. I've been so excited about the possibility of seeing a leopard with this infrared. I didn't quite expect to see a hunt, but this is the way that the evening has taken us. Where are these impala? They were just here. And they haven't given off any alarm calls, so they don't know that he's here. Just waiting for them. And I can't see a thing. It is pitch black out here. It was purely by luck, actually, that we managed to locate him. And Chai Connie, while we wait for Tingana to launch himself at the impala, you want to know if, excuse me, if males or female leopards have a higher success rate. I think it's much of a muchness, to be honest. I don't think that there's necessarily a gender skew in terms of success rate. Females, of course, go for smaller prey, and the males for larger prey. They could be after, both males and females are capable of catching impala, but then the females will target things like steenbok and duiker more regularly than the males. So I don't think there's any particular success rate between the two. Karula's always been particularly successful in terms of her hunting, but I don't know if that's just because we spend a lot of time with her annies up. The impala must have moved off. Oh no, maybe not. He's made his way a little bit closer. Thank you, boy, for not disappearing. Ooh, and whatever it is that we're sitting next to smells horrendous, just by the way. Oh, it smells like old carcass. It's revolting. Anyway, definitely worth bearing the smell to get to witness these moments. Now, of course, leopards have a low success rate, as do lions. Then leopards are probably slightly higher. You're probably looking at about... the wind just changed direction. You're probably looking at a success rate of maybe 10% of the kills that they initiate, whereas lions are slightly lower. He must be aware of the fact that there's something here. It's obviously not of any interest to him. Perhaps he already knows that it's been finished off by hyenas and vultures or whatever it was. Where are these impala? While we're sitting here, I'm listening to the sounds of the evening. I can hear the frogs trilling away, olive toads. I think I even hear a red toad. And, fascinatingly, I can hear a white-faced scops owl. Guroo! While we sit in silence and wait to see what Tingana does next, let's head back across to Brent because we're both lucky enough to have cats on screen. Alrighty, so this is going to be our last view of Tingana. I'm not going to follow him any further. He is very, very hungry and he is hunting, and I don't want to in any way compromise his state and his activities for this evening. So it's so dense in here that we will run the risk of wrecking the car, A, and B, I can't see him all the time, so I can't know if we're going to in any way hamper his efforts. So unfortunately, that is that. I know this block of old. I know it's impossible for us to get in during the day. It's going to be even more tricky at night. What we can do is move back towards the... Oh, I thought he was going to sit down. Is move back towards the road to see whether or not we can't meet up with him there. But unfortunately, that is that. The end of a wonderful Tingana sighting. It was absolutely amazing. Very, very cool. Negative. Been trying to figure it out. There was an injured buffalo here a couple of days ago. Maybe it was that. Okay. Mark was just asking me what smells so bad in this particular area. Alright, we're going to have to try and figure out a way around and out of here. There's quite a few fallen trees, and it's going to be quite tricky. Let's see if we can get out. All right. Where's the road? That's the next question. We wish Tingana all the best as he goes about his hunting endeavors. I hope he's successful, and hopefully tomorrow on the sunset safari we will be able to spend a little bit of time with him and his freshly made kill. I do hope that is the case. And just a reminder that we will be changing times as of tomorrow. So the sunset safari will be at 3:30 Central African time till 6:30. And then the sunrise safaris will be 5:30 to 9:30. While I attempt to navigate my way out of here, let's send you back across to James and his lions.